What's happening, people? What's happening? What's happening? Yes, sir. Hope you guys are doing good. It is your friendly neighborhood, Mr. Andre Harrison. And welcome to the first Motorsport One-on-One Weekly Google Hangout with your mans. Yeah, nice to see you guys. Didn't really know what to say, really. It's been, I didn't think I'd be doing this so late, but here we are. I'm just going to send this out real quick. We are live. We are through. We are in. We are up in here. Hope you guys are having a lovely time. Hope you're having a lovely Sunday night. I see you guys in here already. Everybody's racing to get their first comments in, which is, you know, very 2008, but here we are. Oh, man. I'm just going to put this out on Facebook as well real quick. Oh, look, Matt's in the chat. Captain screenshot himself. My brother was screaming next door, so I was distracted by this for a second there. But yeah, let me know how you guys doing this Sunday night. It's been a really nice Sunday for me. I've been spent watching motorsport and television all day. It's not something I normally do these days, but now live on Facebook as well. Oh, Barcelona scores. Paco Alcacer, lovely. On to timeline. I see so many of you guys in here already. 21 of you. My God. See Marcus, Tiger, Akeem, Jaguar, Miles. I think I see Zoe in there as well. Has to be. Funny coloured fringe. Matt, Joe Ellis. Hello, sir. Evan Byrne, Macody's. Nice to see you. Any kittens in RC car? Sadly, not just yet. I think he's still got that idea. Sorry. Hi, Joe. Yeah, is everyone ready for more memes? This is going to be a long day, isn't it? But yeah, let me know how you guys are doing. Let me know you guys are good. Yeah, if there's stuff you want me to talk about, feel free as well. I haven't got much to do really for the next couple of hours. I'm just going to sit down, maybe break out a can of Snapple from the fridge. Delicious. Hashtag just here for the memes. I love the fringe though. Don't even worry about it. That's all. Anthony Fatano for the memes. You could watch NASCAR. No, Joe. I'm not particularly a fan of that. Zoe, I love the fringe. Seriously, I have a thing for extravagant hair colors. Oh dear. A bit gutted that Chelsea lost against Crystal Palace. Hennessy was on a mad one. The bookies were loving that one, boy. Chelsea losing and then United drawing. Bookies are laughing. Every accumulator you can think of just got busted. Yes, Donovan, you best believe that's a Antoine Griezmann shirt up there. It's delicious. Right, then. Just Dre, if you make another good meme, you could be like Dr. Phil and you could get a TV show. Not sure I'm keen on that. Reigns versus Taker tonight. It's got to be Reigns. The company gets nothing off of Taker winning that match. You might as well just roll with it and, you know, give Reigns the push nobody wants. There, really. Did I watch Top Gear? Yes, I did. It's amazing. I'll get to that in a minute. So you need to tell me if you guys are taking bets on Indy in a few weeks' time. I'm not sure if William Hill do. I know Paddy Power does, if I'm being honest with you. And to be honest, being a given I work for William Hill, I can't gamble with them. I've got to gamble with another company anyway. So, but yeah, Paddy Power always does the Indy 500, so you'll get some bets for that. I don't think anyone's ever anything shorter than like 7-1. So, Carlos Munoz each way. Soon that'll be a United Griezmann shirt. I hope, Miles. I hope. I sincerely. Checking the Twitter real quick. But yeah, as I was saying, man, as Aaron was asking, that episode of Top Gear was amazing. That was legitimately one of the best episodes of Top Gear I've ever seen. Top to bottom, pretty much flawless. The 4GT segment was great. LeBlanc is killing it. His narration voice is amazing. Chris Hoy was a great guest. Stunning lap time, by the way. I know Whitlock was quick, but I know Chris Hoy's a racing driver now, so he should be good, but I didn't think he'd obliterate Whitlock like that. Incredible, especially on a slippery track as well. And of course, Sabine versus Chris, Hammer Racing. What can you say? Phenomenal driving, phenomenal challenge, brilliant television, captivating, top to bottom, amazing episode, fantastic stuff, and just so much fun more than anything else as well. So, yeah, absolutely, superb spectacle. But that's something I would love to see. But Mars, I do agree. I think that moving Clarkson, Hammond, and May along has definitely, at least for me, allowed them to have fresh ideas, the fresh studio. The whole series has been a breath of fresh air, really. They've been amazing. So I'm here for all of it. I think they've all been tremendous in their own right. And again, it's fun. Like, you can even see the chemistry starting to come together between all of them. Even Sabine and Eddie Jordan, who were part-timers in that regard. But yeah. I mean, overall, just an amazing. Like, the last 2 weeks have been stunning. Like, I gave last week's episode a 9.5, and this one was a 10. I think they were both just incredible episodes. Really, really enjoyable stuff, and I wish we could like, there's only 2 weeks left in this series now, and that's a bummer because, like, this series has been one of the best ever. Like, it's up there. I think season 10 of Top Gear is still overall the best. I've still got it on DVD sitting there, and it was 10 episodes long, and it had everything you can imagine on that series. But this is right up there. Season 24 has been insane. It is what the reboot should have always been, in my opinion. And I'm glad that they've basically handed the keys to Matt LeBlanc and Harris and Reed and just rolled with it. Like, they listened to people. They saw the potential in those three, and they rolled with it. And if I'm being real with you, it's really fucking cool to have two people of color out there headlining the biggest TV franchise in the world, not named Game of Thrones. So, you know, that's that. As a black man, as a black guy that's trying to be a broadcaster, trying to be a journalist, I think that's amazing. I think it's inspiring that Harris and Reed are out there, because Reed was a relative nobody before coming into that show, and he's going to be he's a huge star. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing that like, it's like, compare, like, the chemistry is there, and you can see that you know, it's just not stale. Like you see Clarkson, Hammond, and May on the Grand Tour, and it's just so stale by comparison. They've pretty much made the exact same show for the last 15 years, and it shows. On the Grand Tour, it showed. I'm not saying every Grand Tour episode was a stinker. There was still some very good ones in there still. Like, there was flashes that they could show that the boys could still do it, and that's great and all, and that's absolutely awesome. But at the same time, this new show is better, more captivating, more entertaining television, and overall, God, this is so much better than what I was. Even my highest expectations. This is still an amazing series. Hi, Brian. Nice to see you. Who's opening my door? Hi, Mum. Nice to see you too. Hi, Nick. Nice to see you. God, airport shifts. They're not fun. Yeah, I'm saying I think I've seen lots of episodes. To be fair, the last the last 2 episodes of the Grand Tour are very good. Like episodes, I think they're 11 and 12. They're both probably 2 of the 3 best episodes of the series. I think, to be fair, they're worth watching. But my microphone just dropped there. Not good. Pick that up real quick. That's the only issue we have tonight, apart from maybe my face being screenshotted one too many times. But yeah, overall, like, it's pretty good. So it must say that the Grand Tour literally started beating a dead horse when they started blowing up stuffed animals and killing celebrities. Sure. Yeah, it's amazing because like just 6 months ago we were laughing at the Grand Tour. We were laughing at them mocking Top Gear, like, because Top Gear Series 23 was so mediocre that we were going, this is really funny. And now if you look back and re-listen to those same jokes, you realize, wait, these guys are just bitter. Because that's the thing. I would love both shows to be quality. Like, I think there is more than enough room in this world for 2 quality car programs. I also think that part of the problem here is that Clarkson, Hammond, and May are complacent. Like they're making millions off Amazon. They're going to make a bucket load of money on this. They've been given a ridiculously large budget, and their fan base, the hardcore Clarkson, Hammond, and May fans, are going to be content with their 6 out of 10 program, and that's fine. That's completely acceptable. The people that love the people that love that trio will always love that trio, and whatever they're in. From Clarkson's war documentaries to Hammond hosting Total Wipeout for a little while to James May being a nerd, that's fine for them. But I'm kind of bored of watching the same program from those 2 every single time, really. And to be fair, maybe looking back, Series 23 might be a little bit better because it had less shit that annoyed me. I think, to be fair, for Series 23, the only thing that really annoyed me was Evans. Besides Evans, I thought it was fine. I thought it was an okay series. I don't think it was terrible by any stretch. I just think like it needed time to find its feet, and it has. And yeah, I did hear. Zoe, that say Top Gear USA is coming back. Some drag racer and a couple of other guys are hosting it. But yeah, seeing Chris Hoy and Rory Reid compliment each other on Twitter is the weirdest thing, and I mean that in a good way. Flight in the morning, Len. Have a good time in Berlin, my friend. Have a good one. Bring me back that David Alaba shirt. That'll be pretty lit. A guy can dream. Yeah, God, Formula E was mental last night. Like, I don't know if I really want to call it good because it was like, it's the kind of good you wouldn't want to see every week, like drivers messing up and, with track design and whatnot. But it was like, for a one-off spectacle, it was the right kind of chaos. Buemi bottling it and, D'Ambrosio pulling off the defensive drive of a lifetime before his car died. And, Lucas Degrassi's fantastic drive from the front to win. Also, and of course, that big crash at the end between Nicholas Prost and the 2 Mahindras. It was a ridiculous race. Like the one time I was thinking about not watching this series, that it has one of its best ever races. Sod's Law and all that. Crazy race and a much deserved win for Lucas. How did Andretti Autosport be the only team not to hear about the change to the pit stop? Because they're Andretti, Zoe. You should know this by now. Oh, God, yeah, the time slot was awful. Like, match of the day conflict. That's a good point as it goes. But, yeah, I'm kind of glad that Buemi, didn't win that one. The series needed somebody else to win. Just like World Superbikes this morning with Chaz Davis winning race 2, beating Jonathan Rea. The series needed that streak to be broken because if Jonathan Rea leaves Aragon winning 6 for 6, season's over. The season might still already be over, given he's got a 50-point lead. But same deal in Formula E. Remy was running away with it, and he was probably going to run away with it some more if he'd actually not bottled qualifying a little bit. But yeah, the Channel 5 coverage was fucking atrocious. Like it was like they were filming in a cardboard box with a table and some notes. Karun Chandhok was a horrible waste because Karun Chandhok was one of the best pundits in the business. Incredibly knowledgeable, great guy, entertaining, everything, complete package. And they were in a little cardboard box, and they cut to commercials like 10 seconds after the race ends. Stupid. Like Channel 5 might as well just not bothered and just let Formula E stream it on YouTube for the UK for free because Channel 5 just don't give a shit. Although I am glad that Jack Nicholls is back on commentary because Martin Haven is horrible and a sexist and just a bit of a piece of shit in general, to be honest with you. But like Jack Nicholls and Dario Franchitti are gold together. Like they're two of the best commentators in the business. There's so much to like about Formula E, but at the same time, there's a little bit of frustration that stops it from being truly great, in my opinion. But yeah, you know, one of those things. Oh dear, I'm already getting screenshots on my Twitter. Thanks a lot, Jake. To say the least. Team Whitesea. I've not actually watched the MotoGP highlights on Channel 5 yet. I mean, why would you? Like, when you've already watched the races itself, like, why are you watching them again? But, kind of meh. Shout out to my man Tom Brooks, though. He does a lot of the voiceover work for Dawn and Now on their videos. You'll hear Tom Brooks' voice in the background. Good friend of ours from our days together at Downforce, and Brooks is now working for Dorna himself. He's doing a really good job. Follow him. I think he's on Tom Brooks Comments, at Tom Brooks Comms, I think it is. I think he's part of the social media team now for Dorna doing MotoGP and World Superbikes. So, you know, shout out to him. Great guy. Just checking the chat as well. Looking for the Kimmy memes. Bremy fills the series of salt even when he wins. Oh dear. Yeah, absolutely, Tiger Car. I completely agree. Yeah, like if Formula E, if they could bring their calendar closer together, not clash with so much other programming, maybe run their races on a Saturday and not a Sunday. Well, they do that already, but so you get the point. Like if they could find their niche, bring the series closer together, there's a lot of potential, especially given the manufacturer interest, like you say. Merckx could be coming in season 5. They're going to make the cars more powerful. They're going to be faster. Maybe if battery technology moves along in the next 5 to 10 years, they can go to one car as opposed to, you know, having 2, which is still a little bit awkward. Wait, where's my webcam gone? Did I knock it out by accident? One sec. You guys can probably still hear me, but I'm just going to try and get my microphone back in. I've vanished. Should be back. There we go. Sorry about that. I think I actually knocked my cable's USB cord out by accident. Oh man, like yeah, you and me both. Like, I think everybody was kind of captivated by just how brilliant Johan Zarco was in the first 10 laps. Like Zarco was insane. He's always been a really good rider. I mean, if anyone watched him in Moto 2, he was probably the best Moto 2 rider the class has had since Marc Marquez when he won the title in 2012. Zarco is a complete rider. Like he's got the all-round package, and yeah, he was incredible start, incredible confidence, and I think maybe a little bit too confident, and then the bike came back to bite him. But an incredible first effort. I mean, Tech 3 were running really good the whole weekend. Him and Jonas Volga were really, really fast. So that last year's championship Yamaha was a hell of a bike by the looks of it. The fact that both him and Volga have adapted to the class so quickly is a really good sign. Hi Vic, nice to see you, mate. Seeing here. Why does Formula E have to race in street circuits, Black Inferno? Probably because they don't want to avoid the series being exposed for being slower than like GT3 cars on some levels. Like, it's probably not a good look if they're being raced on these enormous tracks. Like even the Donington race that they had to test is still probably too big a circuit for them. I know Lucas will be the first guy to go on Twitter and complain about, these cars are actually really quick. It's just they don't look fast yet. So driving them on conventional tracks don't look as nice. And you can go to wherever you want for street circuits. It's more appealing. Like, oh yeah, we got a race in New York. We got a race in Montreal. We got a race in Berlin. It sounds cooler than saying we've got a race at Donington. Everybody goes to Donington, So I think there's multiple reasons for it, but I think it's partly to hide the flaws of the series, and it's also because they can go to fancy locations that motorsport doesn't normally tap into. Like, look at Punta del Este as a venue, or look at going to Miami as a venue right by the American Airlines Arena where the Miami Heat play, or look at Buenos Aires. They're all great locations for races. Battersea Park, not so much, but you get the gist. But they need a gimmick. But absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Dre, they're going to overtake Formula One in 5 years, says Miles. Oh dear. That's Richard Branson's business talk right there, kicking in. Andrew asking thoughts on what Jody and Palmer said about Renault after quali. I think that Jody and Palmer is a racing driver, and that they're going to complain. The point I mentioned on my weekly 30 and 30 blog, which we finished, by the way, where we finished that the other day, but I mentioned it in my Australia review. Like, drivers complain. Racing drivers complain. They think that they want everything to be in their hands. So when something out of their hands, or what they believe is out of their hands, is causing the problem, they're going to complain about it. That's what racing drivers do. And we've given guys like Fernando Alonso an enormous pass for this for years, going back to his Ferrari days. This is the guy that ran away from McLaren after he found out Lewis Hamilton was getting more of a slice of the pie than he was. Like, he's got an enormous ego on him, and we get away with it because, one, Alonso is popular, two, he's relatively funny for a racing driver, and three, because people still think he's the best driver in the world. Same deal. I think, like, if you're good, it's like we give you a pass for slamming your team, but if you're bad and then you complain about your team, we'll just call you out to be a fucking idiot or something, like we did. Like Pastor used to do. Pastor claimed this car was rigged, but because he's Pastor, we're like, silly Pastor, can't complain about the car. It's all you. You're a shit driver. But if Fernando Alonso does it, it's like, oh well, McLaren needs to get their game together. They've got to build a proper car. Fernando, he's got to be up there challenging for the championship. I'm not saying only Fernando does this. It's just using an example. It's a very easy example to make, but that's how Formula One drivers and how fans react and how fans think. You get. That's just how we are. And I think because a lot of motorsport is popularity contests, they're gonna react in certain ways differently. Who is the least talented driver on the grid? Probably Jody and Palmer. Lance Stroll, there's not enough meat on the bone to judge about him yet. Maldonado actually won a race, and he did have some talent. Like Maldonado. Like Maldonado at least won a race, and he did have multiple good performances in 2012, despite the bad ones too. So, and he won a GP2 title, so I can't say Pastor's a bad driver. He was just one that we turned into a whipping boy, and we never really looked back on him. Magnussen, overrated. Yes, I agree. I don't think Magnussen is as good people as what people think he is. Ericsson was pretty good last season. He did, like, head-to-head beat NASA quite badly. It was just the fact that NASA had the one great drive in Brazil that pretty much saved the team. So, I'm probably Jody and Palmer, and I know Jody and Palmer won a GP2 title, but the man crashed in a straight line on multiple occasions. I'm just saying. I can't say Rahal like that, ABDCFG. Oh, trust me, I've known him for a long time, Miles. Like Alonso has a lot of capers. Probably more than Hamilton. And that's saying, I've dealt with Hamilton capers for years and years and years, but like people get the capes out hard, Fernando. Like, because I've said it time and time again that if you're saying Fernando Alonso is the best driver in the world, pound for pound, I'm not saying you're wrong. What I am saying is that you're kind of guessing at this point because he's not had a competitive car for 4 or 5 years now. And we're always going to assume if he gets into a Mercedes, he's going to beat Hamilton. I wouldn't say that. I'd probably still give Hamilton the head-to-head because Hamilton beat him as a rookie in 2007. So, you know, I'm just saying I don't think Nando is anywhere near as good as the internet makes him out. I think 2012 was like Alonso's magnum opus. And even then, as I mentioned in the 30 and 30, like, Alonso's Ferrari was never that bad compared to the Red Bull. Like, people think the Red Bull was so dominant in 2012, and it wasn't. McLaren had the faster car in 2012, but McLaren's reliability was dog shit, and that's what let Vettel in and win those 4 races in Asia, including when Hamilton retiring in Abu Dhabi when a race he was going to win, or the unluckiness of when he got taken out at Brazil by Nico Hulkenberg. You know, little things like that went a long, long way. It's true, but. I did see Silverstone's April Fool's attempt. That was pretty funny, actually, but it wasn't bad. But yeah, I would probably take Hamilton. Yeah, you're right. I would take Hamilton. I would take Vettel. I would maybe even take Daniel Ricciardo over Fernando Alonso now, because Daniel Ricciardo's body of work has been really good since he joined Red Bull. Like 2 of the last 3 seasons at Red Bull, he's been a driver of the year contender. 2014, he was incredible, probably driver of the year. 2016, he was fantastic. Again, 3rd in the championship, best of the rest by a country mile. And for all the hype we made about Max Verstappen, Ricciardo beat him from pillar to post last year. Head-to-head, qualifying and in races, and in points scored, even if you just take the Red Bull races into account and ignore when he was at Toro Rosso still. Ricciardo is still a way better driver than Max Verstappen is. But because Verstappen made a couple of daring overtakes, we're like, oh, Max, you're amazing, you're future world champion, etc., etc. Like, let him beat his teammate first, and then we can talk about Verstappen and world titles. I know he's only 19, and he's only going to get better, obviously. But like, can we just chill on the hype for just a second? You know, absolutely agreed, Miles. But like Nando bottled, like he was 45 points clear mid-season. Like I think it was after the Valencia race when Vettel's alternator gave out. I think Alonso won that race from 11th. And he was 45 points clear. Was taken out in Belgium, wasn't his fault. And I know Japan wasn't really his fault either. But he should have wrapped that up. Like, no question. But, there you go. Luck, etc. 2010 he bottled. 2012 he bottled. But it was bad luck. But in any case, that's Formula One. And luck is a hard thing to measure. But it's one of those things. Where would I put Verstappen in the grid? Oh, God. I'd take Hamilton. I would take Vettel. I would take Ricciardo. I would take Alonso over him. Those are probably the 4. I might take Sergio Perez over him. I think Perez is a lot better now than he was when he was at McLaren in 2013. I think Perez was one of the most complete drivers in the field. Maybe I take Romain Grosjean over him if he's in a good car, because Grosjean is like the baseline, I am as good as my car sort of driver. But I would definitely take Hamilton, Vettel, Alonso, probably Sergio Perez as well. Maybe Valtteri Bottas too. I don't know. Like, Bottas's body of work at Williams was really good, in fairness as well. Like, Verstappen's has been decent, but it's not been amazing. So like 5th or 6th. But Max was robbed of driver of the race in Australia. Oh dear. You take Carlos Sainz over him? Now that's interesting. I'm not sure I'd go that far, to be honest with you. Like, Carlos is really good. Like, you could see King was trying really hard on the podcast to he was trying really, really hard to make Carlos Sainz our driver of the year pick. I kind of vetoed it, but there was a case you could make for Carlos Sainz. He was so good in the Toro Rosso last year. He will never make it to Red Bull though unless Ricciardo leaves. That's the problem. Like Ricciardo has to move on, and then who would take Ricciardo? Like Ferrari have a good thing going on with Vettel and Raikkonen. Like, Raikkonen was legitimately really good last year. Like, you out-qualified Vettel over the course of the season and scored good points. He was a solid number 2 given the car that was underneath him. So, you know, the free agency will shake things up this year for sure. But I feel bad for Carlos because he's kind of in a dead-end situation at Toro Rosso. Like, Toro Rosso will never be as good as the factory team. They'll probably never even be a top 5 team. So if that's the case, you've got to take somebody else who's got to take a gamble on you, and who's going to do that? Who are better teams? Like Williams might do, but Williams would have to they would have to keep Felipe Massa for another year because Carlos is still only 21. So there's problems with all this because they've now got Stroll. Force India's got a franchise guy in Esteban Ocon, and Perez is a top tier driver, just in a not quite a good enough car to really justify it, etc. But you get the gist, you know. In terms of ratings, FIFA ratings, huh? Verstappen is 87. Seems about right. Yeah, I completely agree. I think Sainz is the guy. I think he does have great hair as well, Evan. That's absolutely true. I would say that you're right. I think Carlos is the best young driver that's not been given a chance yet. And this is his 3rd season now. It's tough. And as Zoe pointed out in the chat, that Red Bull's wrecked so many careers, and it's not even directly Red Bull's fault. It's just that they have the conveyor belt. And I think the worst mistake they ever made was keeping Mark Webber around as long as they did, because keeping Mark Webber around effectively killed the food chain, because Webber was 35, 36, 37 when he retired. And they kept guys like Buemi, Alguersuari, Vernon, Ricciardo back for that reason. Sure, Ricciardo worked out great in the end, and they managed to have Verstappen jump the queue. But they toasted so many guys to get there. Like Buemi was booted out. Alguersuari is now retired. He doesn't even drive anymore. He's trying to focus on music now. Bourdais was another one. Scott Speed. Like, Bourdais not working out was a bust, because Bourdais was really good. Obviously, amazing challenge car driver, but just the wrong place at the wrong time, really, more than anything else. And I'm sure there's others I've not even mentioned yet, but the system breaks people. And I mean, Kvyat might be damaged goods beyond repair now at this point, and that's just the most tragic thing about it. Yeah, I mean, seeing the chat here. Hi, Danny. Nice to see you. Yeah, it's amazing that, isn't it? Like, Bourdais got kicked because he tried to improve the car. What a terrible thing to do. Like, one of the best drivers of our generation is sitting here trying to make the car better. What a bastard. God, there's 38 of you in here now. Holy shit. And you're right. Kvyat was really good in 2015. He gave Ricciardo a legitimate run for his money. Like, he outpointed Ricciardo. I mean, people love the head-to-head matchup, but Kvyat outpointed Ricciardo. Yeah, Ricciardo had the lion's share of the bad luck, sure, but points win prizes, not luck. And Kvyat was more than equal for Ricciardo in that team, in that setup. But they were looking for any excuse to get Verstappen in the top car, and Russia gave them that excuse. So we think it's best for Danny's career if he continues his development back at Toro Rosso, which is corner speak for we were going to lose Verstappen if we didn't put him in the Red Bull seat. And when you've got a talent like Max, you don't want to lose him to someone like Mercedes. It's as simple as that, you know. And his dad's a dickhead anyway, so you know, as you do, it's awful. Like I said, Mark Webber was like the inadvertent dagger to the Red Bull Driver Academy. because instead of going all in on the youth, they kept Webber around probably 2 years too long. And as a result, it pretty much butchered Verne's career. And Verne could have easily driven for Red Bull, easily. He was every bit as good as Ricciardo and Toro Rosso. And Verne's career has never recovered from there. He's now just driving for Techeetah in Formula E, and he's got such resentment against Toro Rosso, it's insane. He hates Red Bull now as a result of that. I remember I got a story from someone on Twitter that said, Verne was at a signing meeting in Formula E, and somebody shouted at him. He goes so John, what do you think of Toro Rosso? And then he shouted back going, fuck Toro Rosso. So, you get the gist. It's one of those things. You're Canadian, Higgins. Didn't even know that. Neat. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The driver academy, it's too truncated. It's a dead end for most people because especially now you've got Verstappen is 19 years old. That could be your franchise guy for 15 years. Ricciardo's still in his prime now, I think at 27. He's not exactly young. He's 2 years younger than Sebastian Vettel is. So, how could you realistically expect someone to join that team thinking of getting a Red Bull seat one day? What you've got to hope is that another factory comes along and says, yeah, we'll buy out Carlos Sainz's contracts or whatever. I think Ferrari would be foolish not to say, we'll open your checkbook. What's it going to take for us to get Carlos? You had Nando in your team, who's a great marketable Spaniard. X1 and Carlos Sainz right there as the future piece of your team. But, it's one of those things. Yeah, that's that's not even the worst of the Jos Verstappen rumors. Apparently, he may or may not have beaten up his wife too. There's been many a domestic violence story with Jos Verstappen, to say the least. He's basically a piece of shit. But it's one of those things. But yeah, Gasly, Gasly hasn't got a hope. Real talk, Gasly's got no chance. If they were going to ping Gasly in, they would have let Kvyat go. They're not, and now Gasly's going to waste a year of his career in Japan with he's going to be no further along the line to getting an F1 seat. They've basically given him a Super Formula drive to keep him busy for a year. That's what it is. I think Kvyat's done. I think Kvyat's done, and then Pierre Gasly might be moved on by that point anyway. It's a shame because, again, Gasly, GP2 champion. What more do you want him to do? You think you've got to go into F1 now, but no. They actually kept Kvyat around after stabbing him in the back. It's oh, no, we can bring him back, you guys. He's dead. It's terrible. If you wanted a Red Bull, if you're a young driver, why would you ever go to the Red Bull Academy? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's a terrible thing. And if you want more on that in more concise fashion, go back on this channel and look at the Dre brief. I think it's called The Rise and Fall of Daniil Kvyat. It's about 4 minutes long. And it's the most watched video on this channel. I think it's got over 23,000 views because I think somebody posted it on the F1 subreddit. It's got 23,000 views now, which is kind of crazy. And I didn't even make the video. That was Emily who made the video. You might know her at Weapons Grade Cat on Twitter. Very, very good friend of mine. Total sweetheart. Love her to bits. She did so much work for us on the YouTube channel before her PC packed in, but she's an absolute delight. But next year, Rallycross for Gasly. Oh, no. Oh, and Matt's back. Delightful. Oh, Bristol. Okay. Didn't realize that, Nick. Nice one. Yeah, I agree as well as it. Sainz would have given Verstappen a much greater run because I think Carlos Sainz had 7 mechanical retirements in 2015. He had no chance of beating Verstappen because the narrative said so. Johannes, every lower class team is being used by the higher team because that's how Formula One and capitalism works. If a top tier team wants a driver from the mid teams that badly, they'll get him. Especially if they're not part of a factory where they have no leverage. Look at McLaren. They like Lewis Hamilton went to Mercedes. They snapped up like Sergio Perez in a heartbeat. If a big team wants a little team guy, they'll get the little team guy. They can always buy him out of a contract because teams need the money. If you're in Formula One and you're below the top four, you're surviving. You're not trying to win. Like F1 is a terrible investment if you're not in the top three and you're not winning races. Simple as that. It's why Williams tailed off. They haven't got the money to compete with the big three. It's obvious. It's capitalism in a nutshell. You screw the little guys and you screw the little guys and you bring out the big ones. That's how it is. Unfortunately, that's the reality of it. I'm with you on that one, Mitchell. Just scrap the junior program and go all in on Carlos Sainz. That's your guy right there. Do you think there's more to it to Wehrlein's injury? Says Andrew. I think so, to a degree. I mean, I am not going to tell Pascal Wehrlein you've got to race. Like, these are incredible athletes that are banking on their bodies for the sake of their careers. And I totally get if Pascal didn't feel like he could go the full distance, he should have pulled out. Absolutely agreed. He should not have raced. I do, however, think it's a little bit weird that Pascal thinks that he can get like 3 months of fitness training done in 2 weeks for China. I think we're going to see Giovinazzi at least one more time before this season comes to an end, or at least before Pascal comes back, because if he's 3 months behind on fitness, he's not going to cram that into the space of a couple of weeks. Of course, Pascal was still recovering from the Race of Champions knock that he took, but I do find it a bit weird. I mean, it doesn't help Pascal's reputation either, because I know that a lot of people like Buxton were spreading the words that, he's got the reputation of a prima donna in Formula One, but Formula One is the sport of male, like, super male intensity, masculinity, feelings and shit. Because look at Martin Brundle. Martin Brundle said, Pascal should have just taken some painkillers and got on with it. Fuck you. Who are you to tell somebody whether they should or shouldn't drive a car that's pulling 6G every other corner around Australia? Fuck you, man. It's just a classic case of back in my day, we did this and we did that. The game has changed, Martin, and you weren't even that good in F1 to begin with. For God's sake. Jesus Christ. And exactly, as Zoe points out, Dario Franchitti, prime example. Don't race if you're not 100%. If not, you risk permanently ending your career. That's what happened with Dario. Dario raced when he wasn't 100%, had that horror crash. I think it was in Detroit. And next thing you know, his career's over. And you're talking about one of the finest IndyCar drivers of all time, and a national hero to Scotland. But we as sports fans are arrogant people. We believe that athletes should just suck it up and play because they get paid millions of pounds, when it's not that simple. If you heard the NBA recently and the stories about LeBron James taking rest days, and a lot of the NBA fans we don't get this in baseball. These NBA guys are getting paid $20, $30 million a year. They shouldn't be allowed to rest. No, playing basketball 82 times in 6 months is hard. Going from plane to plane, getting jet lags, not being able to sleep, doing back-to-back home and away road trips is hard on the body. It's the same deal in Formula One. Don't sit there and tell these rich athletes to play through pain, you entitled pricks. God, it's so annoying. Yeah, Houston. Thanks for the reminder, guys. Appreciate that. Yeah, it was Houston, not Detroit. Sorry, thank you. But like I said, you're absolutely right, Zoe, because he was in an F1. Scotland will never appreciate him. But Dario is a friggin' IndyCar legend. He's one of the finest British drivers ever to take part in motorsport over here. He's up there with the very best, and we don't talk about him because he was an IndyCar guy. It's not fair, but then again, it's British arrogance because we don't respect the Americans. We like to think we're better than the Americans at everything. So, of course, the IndyCar series or or any of that. We don't put on the same level as the Pinnacle, and the Pinnacle has its own set of problems. But but it's one of those things. I'm not saying that Wehrlein was or wasn't better, Andy. I think you're kind of missing the point on this one. But for what it's worth, I know people like RJ on the podcast always said that Ocon was better. And, we'll see how it goes. I mean, Pascal, I think, has had a good F1 career to date. He scored a point for Manor last year in Austria. He's always been solid. I mean, this will be the real breakthrough year for him against Marcus Ericsson, a guy who, again, we don't take particularly seriously, but he's a good defensive driver, and he's gotten better every year, Marcus. So it'll be a good test for both of them, quite frankly, to see where they're both at. But sure, Ocon could be great too. There's no shame in that. He's a Formula 3 champion. Like, Ocon was never bad. It's just the situation that he's in. Had to fail, nice to see you. Oh, completely agreed, Miles. Like, it's a matter of arrogance. That's national pride and loyalty. We always think our shit's better than their shit. Pride, nationalism, all that good shit. Yeah. You tried to test for Jaguar. I get it, man. I totally get it. It's one of those things. But, Good question from Black Inferno. Will Perez stay on at Force India next year? Good question. I'm not sure. Is Sergio going to have the Nico Hulkenberg problem where he just becomes too stagnant? Because Perez is the best driver that's not had a top tier chance yet. McLaren was not top tier in 2013, and he was in a bad situation because he was going up against Jenson Button, who was coming off of a solid 2012 and a really good 2011. And I think Perez was 23 when that happened, and he's a much better driver now. He's got the consistency that he lacked back then, and there's just bigger and better names on the open market next year, like Ricciardo, like Verstappen, like Vettel, Alonso, Bottas, Hamilton. They're all free agents. So how the whole field shakes out is who knows? But Perez has been indecisive before. He was going to join Renault last year, but changed his mind at the last minute to stay at Force India. So who knows how it might all shake out in the end? But Perez, if I had to choose now, I'm leaning towards him staying. Force India is a good spot for him. He's the star of the team. He gets great national press. Force India are legitimately the 4th or 5th best team in F1. It's a pretty good spot to be in right now. There's not much you can do that's better than that. But yeah, I think he might have the problem with Hulkenberg where he's just been too stagnant for too long and he's not really been aggressive enough to get it. I think I agree with Andy on that one for Tiger Kart. Yeah, I think they're dead-end deals. Same with Grosjean. Where are you going to go from Haas? Because Haas are good flash in the pan drivers, but they've not been a consistent perennial championship level car yet. Not even close. They finished in 8th in the constructors last year. They're a long way from where they're going to be maybe this guy could take the next step. That's the problem. And Grosjean's not getting any younger. I think he's 32 this year. So I don't think Vettel leaves Ferrari for what it's worth, chat. I'm just throwing that out there. Justin Timberlake got more press being the sponsor than Dan got for winning the race. Yeah, sad face. But hey, he's coming back to COTA this year. Hooray! Race car Twitter will be there and I will not be, and it will make me very sad. But one day. I've made no secret about this. I'm definitely trying to head to the Indy 500 next year. Maybe. I'm thinking about it, but part of my social anxiety is it's telling me not to do it because I get really like having Asperger's. It means you can really, you know, I put a good mask on it, but I still struggle socially. I can't even look people in the eye sometimes. It's really terrible of me. But I struggle with that sometimes. I really do. And me spending probably a good part of a couple of grand to go over there to the 500 and then meet a lot of people. I've met people like in there, sort of like Connors before, and Catherine Benham, you may know on Twitter as well. Hazel Southwell, you might know her. Rory at Rawls, you may know him. Jack Leslie, and Luke Smith as well. But like, there's people out there like Lizzie and, you know, Alex, and so many amazing guys. And I'd be shit scared I'd do something wrong to piss them off. Trust me. That would be God. That would be amazing. But like, part of my inner psyche would scare the shit out of me on that. Sell our souls, Trey, and go to Indy together. Yeah, so we'll go together. It'll be lit. Stay in a hotel. We'll watch all the races and just shoot the shit for 2 weeks. It'd be great. Shut up, Nick. I love the Force India. Dre, Indy 500 party house, man. We're all gonna be there. Yeah. I mean, geez. Again, I would love to do it. I really would, but like, trust me, it's a nightmare. Like, as a guy that's been in long distance relationships, and I'm quote unquote kind of in one now, it's like, it's hard. It's hard because you're just so afraid of not wanting to F things up, you know? And if I went over there and I had a bad experience, I would never forgive myself. It's one of those things. But then again, I'm like, it's one of those things where you just try to get over the fifth because, you know, you're probably overthinking it, and like, it's probably never as bad as you think. And that's something I've learned from being in this relationship, is like, it's never as bad as you think, but you're always afraid something could go wrong. That's always been me. So I've never been on a plane by myself, for example, as well. So doing that, going to America, try not to get too intimidated, try not to get lost, try not to get shit scared, and then getting over to Indy, meeting everybody, and then, you know, being thousands of miles away from home. I've not even had a proper holiday in like 10 years. Like, because obviously when Kendra was born, she was really young, and then she got diagnosed with leukemia at 2. So like, holidays are out of the question, quite frankly. So there's been a lot that's been going on with me on that. So, you know, maybe I'll think about it. I mean, even last night when Race Car Twitter was drunk, I just felt so out of place. It was ridiculous. So, you know. Whew. But you make a good point. You never really know unless you try, right? So we'll see how it goes. I mean, I'd have to put a lot of money down for it. And hey, I'm going to be a shop manager at William Hill in 2 weeks' time. So great. You know, I'm going to be on a proper salary, you know, making about $19K a year. It's going to be pretty good. All things, hopefully, if everything goes to plan, it could be a decent spot for me, and there's a lot to look forward to in my life in general that could be amazing. And America's always been I've always wanted to go to America. It's been a dream of mine for years. I've wanted to go to the States at least once because of the culture, because of the people, and I've got lots of special reasons I want to go. And like, IndyCar has been amazing for me since I became a fan in 2015. So there's all sorts of reasons to do it, and you know, some more romantic than others, I suppose. But yeah, we've always wanted to do it, and you know, maybe one day. But you know, it'll happen. Maybe next year. We'll have to wait and see. Gee, it's crazy for all of us, Day. We appreciate you. You guys are great. You guys are far too supportive. Thank you. I do read everything in the chat. You guys are great. But that's just me being honest. Between your London accent and my glass region one, you can just be the scary fans. I'm 6'2". I weigh 18 stone. I was born scary. Okay, the accent is just like the trifecta right there. Like, I'm a big guy, and like, people get intimidated by my size. It's crazy. Like, when I work at the job, it's like, oh, this guy must be really hot. I'm the most gentle giant. Sarah can vouch for this. Like, I am the least threatening person you'll ever see in your life. Trust me. But people think that, it's weird. Oh dear. But God, you're a foot taller than me. I get that a lot. Yeah, I'm pretty tall. Can't lie. But yeah, it helps. It helps in certain ways. But oh, shut up, you. You think I'm bad? Brendan's 6'6". I mean, shit. Brendan should be a rugby player, quite frankly. I mean, he is Irish after all. But yeah, I'm pretty big. Can't lie. My accent is cool. Shut up, all of you. Shut up, shut up, shut up. Like, I've said it before. Like, it's the nicest thing that, I get this a lot, but it's like, the accent thing is so weird. So whenever someone compliments the accent, I get really shy and nervous about it because I got bullied the shit out of in school for my accent. People thought I was Australian. Like, people thought I was Andrew Simons, the former Australia cricket player, because I had like the Aborigine sort of skin texture back then. So yeah, people are dicks. So when people compliment the accent, it means a lot. It really does. But yeah, it brings back some bad memories too. Like, I was miserable in school for a long time. So I've mentioned that before, but like, the accent thing is one that kind of sticks with me a lot. I'm glad that people like it. I have no idea how I got this thing. It's weird because like, I was born here, but there's Jamaican in both my family sides. It's really weird. But oh dear, it's one thing. To answer Yannis's question, fastest guy over a lap level, probably between Senna and Hamilton. That's the fastest guy as ever. Between those two, but yeah, for the record, I am 6'2" and about 250 in terms of American pounds. That's about 18 stone. I had a bit of I've lost a stone since like February, just by basically not being such a fat ass, basically. But I could still do with losing maybe another couple. I don't want to be stick thin or anything, but I think 15 to 16 is about right for my size. But it's one of those things. A multi-accent. I don't even know what that is. But yeah, Clark's up there. Definitely up there. Gone too soon. That's the thing. It's like, I've been shot down for saying that Clark's like 7th on my all-time list, but I think you could make an argument for Clark being in the top 3. I really think you could. But he was just he was Senna before Senna, basically. When he died at 32, I think he did. And that's just awful. He was in his prime when he was taken away from us. Just awful. But a truly great driver. Everyone does. I hate rugby. The accent's majestic. Shut up. You guys are great. Clark is God. $34. My bad. Thank you. I'm bad with years and I'm bad with numbers sometimes. Sorry. 5'9", room to go. Yeah, like, I think I had Clark 6th on my last list, just behind Sebastian Vettel. He might be better. It's the kind of thing that changes every week with me. It's like I have a sudden brainwave and I have a sudden thought that I start messing people out. I still don't know where I put Hamilton right now. He's in the top 10 for sure. Like, statistically alone, he's a monster. But obviously, he's got 3 titles now, so that definitely helps. But he's probably somewhere between 5 and 8. But God knows on that one. The criteria is so vast that there's no real right or wrong answer to that, in my opinion. But Fangio, Senna, Prost, Clark, Schumacher. Whew, Schumacher as low as 5th. Yikes. God, those fantasy questions are like in the world of motorsport. It's such a vast gaping chasm that there's a million arguments you could make for half the field. Again, you can make a case for Mario Andretti. His F1 record wasn't amazing, but he raced everything amazingly deep into his 40s as well. Another majestic talent. But how much does the outside of F1 stuff factor into him as a racing driver and an F1 Hall of Fame? It's a hard thing to you can't really quantify it. It's a hard thing to measure. I've never really criticized anyone's Hall of Fame list or anyone's top 10 list because it's such a crapshoot. It really is. Like, you could factor in God knows anyone into that. Like, again, my personal list has Fangio at number 1 and Schumacher at 2, Prost at 3, Senna at 4. The top 4 you could probably put in just about any order, and you can make a case for it. I've said it before. Like the Mount Rushmore of F1 is a crapshoot. You could put them in any spot, and there's a case you could make. Prost had a demonic run for nearly a decade, where he was like winning or he was runner-up. Senna was the embodiment of a racing driver. Like, he is the most popular, most beloved racing driver of all time. And, of course, one of the fastest, most ridiculous natural talents you've ever seen. Schumacher is the stat god. He raced for 20 years, had 7 world titles, could have easily had a couple more if he made better moves at the right time. Again, 91 wins will probably never be beaten, quite frankly. And of course you've got Fangio, who won 5 titles in the most dangerous era of F1 after the war. Did it with multiple cars, beat guys like Sterling Moss convincingly, and won half the races he ever entered. It's that kind of shit. There's an argument you can make for all of them. This is how it is. Again, Jackie Stewart, another guy. One, had a ridiculous win percentage. Was probably the best driver of the 60s and 70s. And of course, he's a member of Mount Nivell on the Motorsport101.com site now. That's going to be coming up soon, because one of the biggest influences of safety in motorsport came from him, and that's an important legacy to keep there, because we didn't really give a shit about motorsport safety until Senna died. That was the catalyst, really. And Jackie was having those conversations 20 years earlier. So just sad in a way, but I've never read their books, Zoe. To be honest with you, I wish that it's a shame that Jackie's a bit bitter, but I can't criticize a guy for being protective of the past. I really can't with Jackie Stewart. I get that to a degree. Never read the books though, Zoe. I really probably should have. I know Graham Hill. I've said it before. Like, Graham Hill is the most underrated F1 driver ever. Like, everybody talks about Damon, but no one talks about how his dad was better. And the last guy to have the Triple Crown, and multiple F1 races, one at Monaco 5 times, I think it was. Won Le Mans, won the Indy 500, was raced through ridiculous injuries, recovered ridiculously great, a real icon of the sport of the 60s and 70s. And again, just gone too soon. Now, there's a great mini documentary about it that Jeremy Irons presented. It's really, really good. I highly recommend you go and see it. I learned a lot about Graham Hill that day. Truly amazing driver. You'd be a gem for that, Zoe. Get in touch sometime. Asking me, Jaguar Z, is Felipe Massa underrated? Got to be careful because my brother's next door. He's a massive Felipe Massa fan. Which, by the way, reminds me. I'm a big fan of Felipe, me, just for the record. But Felipe Massa is an interesting one, because Massa had 2 really good years, 2007 and 2008. He came back in 2010, and by 2010, he was Alonso's bitch, basically, at Ferrari, and he never really got a chance to stand out. He came back and was pretty strong in 2014. But the man has what? I think 11 career wins, world championship runner-up spot in 2008, and a title he probably should have won, given some of the awful luck he had in 2008, like the Hungary engine blowout or the fuel hose in Singapore. Like Massa was stupidly unlucky. I don't even mention Lauda either. Holy shit! But like, if it was for me, like, I don't think Felipe Massa is underrated because people love him. Like, he's a really, really nice guy, and he's one of the most passionate F1 drivers I've ever seen. Like, the scene after Brazil where he's bawling his eyes out after winning the race and not winning the title is one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever seen in F1. The retirement scene, or so we thought last year, was a beautiful piece. And I think Felipe is the kind of guy that, you know, some people love, but I think is generally quite well regarded by everybody in the paddock. And, you know, he's had, nearly 300 career Grand Prix at this point as well. I think the phrase we're looking for is that he's a Hall of Very Gooder. That's the phrase I use. I don't think he'd be a Hall of Fame level driver, but I think he'd be a Hall of Very Gooder. He's like a Mark Webber or maybe a Rubens Barrichello. But to be fair, Rubens is the all-time race record, so he'd probably get him by default eventually because nobody's raced more than Rubens has. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think he's underrated because people like him too much. I think he's somewhere in the middle. I don't think he's overrated either because no one really puts Massa in those big conversations. But I think he's a Hall of Very Gooder. If you want an interesting one for a Hall of Fame argument, Jenson Button. I think that's the baseline right there. Just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there. Will Alonso make it back at the top? But yeah, you know. Yeah, Hunt is ridiculously overrated. Make no mistake. Hunt just didn't give a shit until Lauda kicked his ass. But yeah, like I said, if you want a Hall of Fame argument, I don't think Massa's there. I think if Massa had won the title in 2008, he might have just about gotten in. But I think me and my brothers debated this a lot, but I think that like Jenson Button's like the baseline for a Hall of Famer. Button had 15 wins, won a world title, was a demon in the wet. I think he's what, isn't he over the 300 mark for races? Something like that. He's close to that, I'm sure. Again, was a veteran for, you know, God, I think it was 16, 17 seasons. Like, Button, I think, is right around the line of what I would call a Hall of Famer. Somewhere right on the line. Which reminds me, I really want to get a JB helmet at some point. Probably the pink one from 2015. 2014. The British one was great. The tribute to his dad John, which is, you know, a beautiful thing. But if you want the Hall of Fame baseline, for me, I think it's someone like JB. Let's have a look here real quick. Jenson Button. I think he's in the 300 club, isn't he? Let's have a look. Quick Google search. Yeah, 308. 305 starts. Means I love Mario wouldn't have made it to the point he wasn't if it wasn't noticed by Twin Chapman and Jim Clark. It wasn't for his wife giving him her paycheck. Lit. Yeah, 308, 305 starts. Yeah. Rosberg's in. Like Rosberg, like the thing is, Rosberg's the biggest benefit of the stat boosts of having more races. But he's like top 15 in every major category statistically. I think it's like 22 wins. He did 12 seasons in F1, had the breakout year in 2009. You know, was a two-time runner-up before winning the world title in 16 and then retiring. The extra early retirement thing is actually probably a bonus to Nico Rosberg. It's probably because you look at him now, he looks so happy he's now retired, and it's like he can walk off into the sunset. It was the perfect ending for Nico Rosberg. He probably gets in. 22 wins is a massive number by any stretch. No one will take Jim Clark's Grand Slam record, and I fucking love that. Zoe, you're such a homer for the old guys. I love it. Takuma Sato, anyone? You shut up. Oh, Cook's here. Hi, Cook. How you doing? Where does Keke fit in? Now, that's interesting. Because Keke Rosberg was like the legitimate, only real case of a guy who wasn't in the best car won the title. Now, that would have been interesting. Because, again, like, he won it in a car that was shit. However, I can't lie to you. I think Didier Pironi passing away. I think that's probably the reason he won that title. But that's a good one. It's an interesting debate. Mustache Hall of Fame, yes, magnificent mustache. But yeah, like a lot of funky shit had to happen for Rosberg to win that title. That year was a total crapshoot. I mean, that like Williams, Renault, McLaren, Ferrari, all were in the mix that year, and oof, you know. God, I didn't realize Keke debuted at 29. God, he was an old man back then, and yet he won a world title. But again, if you go purely by stats, he wasn't actually that amazing. But again, it was smaller races back then. I mean, could you really put a guy in the Hall of Fame for 5 wins? I don't know. Like I said, it depends. It was a weird ass season. Again, of course, the death of Pironi definitely didn't help. But it's like depends where your Hall of. The thing is, if you're going to have a Hall of Fame, which is what the FIA are considering actually having soon, you've got to draw the line somewhere. You can't just make it a free for all. Otherwise, it's not a Hall of Fame. So where's the baseline? Like, where do you think the line is? Like, what makes a Hall of Famer in Formula One? Is it someone that had an influence on the sport? Is it someone that was a stat man? Was it someone that had a greater influence? Was it like, you know, that's what you got to ask yourself. And for example, with Felipe over here, it was more a case of, well, can you put a non-champion in? They'd have to be pretty amazing as a non-champion to get into a Hall of Fame. I don't think Felipe Massa qualifies. Jenson Button probably does. Does Keke Rosberg? Well, it's hard to say. Again, there's no right or wrong answer on this. It's just a matter of, you know, figuring out where your line is. I think I was going to win, and I bet he broke his legs. Dre, do you think JPM will go for the Triple Crown? Well, who's going to hire him? Like, that's the thing. I'd love Monty to go for the Triple Crown. Monty is amazing. He's a tremendous talent, and he can drive just about anything well. Like, Monty is like they don't make racing drivers like Montoya anymore. Like, he's kind of like the last bastion of the era of I can go in and drive anything on any given weekend, and he's great for that. I'm not sure whether Porsche would sacrifice one of their guys to bring in Monty. I have no doubt he could do it because he's an amazing driver. But who gives him the chance? That's the question. Like, would Toyota bring him in or would Porsche bring him in? Because Porsche's got an amazing set of drivers, you know? And being real with your being real with your Vortex Danger, like, Simoncelli should not be a Hall of Famer. Like, MotoGP's Hall of Fame is kind of a joke. And I don't say that out of disrespect, but Marco Simoncelli on his career alone would not be a Hall of Famer unless he died. And Hall of Fames do not depend on whether you die or not before going in, unfortunately. Like, because if he was a Hall of Famer, you've got to induct every why isn't isn't Kato a Hall of Famer as well after he passed away? I think that was 2002. I think that was. Hang on, I'm looking this up now. He's in MotoGP because there's been 5 deaths since 4 deaths in the 10th century. Like, so let me so long. Like, Salom's not going to be a Hall of Famer now, is he? Is Simoncelli a MotoGP legend because he died early? Probably not. Same deal. Yeah, 2003. Thanks for that. Yeah, but the hair porn. Lol, Zoe, you're such a perv. But that's how it is. Like, did they induct Shoya Tomizawa after that? They didn't, did they? After he passed away in 2010. Like, I'm looking at the MotoGP Hall of Fame right now, and it's Agostini, Doohan, Jeff Duke, Wayne Gardner, Mike Helwood. They inducted Kato. Now, see, even Kato has more of a claim because Kato won a world title. To be fair, Simoncelli did too. A 250 title in 2008. Is that enough? I didn't feel comfortable that he was made a Hall of Fame. Let's put it that way. I was like, it just didn't feel right. I mean, they already named it like Misano after him as well. I mean, holy shit. I'm not trying to gloss over Simoncelli's death, but I'm not sure if a Hall of Fame induction was appropriate. You got Eddie Lawson in there, Tommy Mang, Angel Nieto, Wayne Rainey, Phil Reed, Jim Sedman, Kenny Roberts Sr., Saranen, Schwartz, Sheen, Simoncelli, Freddie Spencer, Casey Stoner, John Surtees, rest in peace, Jorge Martinez, Nicky Hayden, Alex Crivier, and Franco Uncini. Gosh. It's a weird one. Like, how a organization runs its Hall of Fame is ultimately up to them. But it's a dodgy one. Like, again, I don't think there's any right or wrong answer there, but like, so, you know, how you want to read it ultimately is up to you, I suppose. Did you ever notice your top 5 videos from 2013 was basically the top 5 of the championship from that season without Valentino Rossi? Yes, because Rossi was shit that year. God. Rossi was nowhere in 2013. He won one race. Everybody glossed it over like it was some sort of miracle, and it was back to finishing 4th all the time. I'm glad I put somebody else in there instead because, you know what, in MotoGP, especially back then, the top 2 factory teams were miles ahead of everybody else. Miles ahead. It's not so bad now, but back then, it was Honda versus Yamaha. So, like, 3 of the 4 were going to get in automatically, quite frankly. So, you know, you're kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't on that one, really. But, yeah, ask me some stuff if you want. We got another half an hour or so. I'll close it up at 11. I do want to get my parents off to sleep at some point. You know, it's only fair. It's a bit rude of me to be up this long talking. Vinales, hashtag New World Order. Yeah, Vinales is a terrifying, terrifying thought. God. Oh, yeah, it's WrestleMania tonight, too. Meh. I miss when I see... I thought BTCC was fine, Miles. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good time. It was fun. I'm not saying it was amazing. I'm not saying it was terrible. But Shedden was great. Chilton was great. Turkington was superb all weekend. The crashes were funny though, man. Like Turkington and Neil hitting each other in race 1 was funny. Then Jason Plato basically did the same thing in race 2. That was great. Andrew Jordan did a pretty good job as well. Colin was pretty solid. It was a fun weekend. That's the first time I've ever watched a touring car weekend from start to finish. It was fun. I was bouncing back between that and Eurosport all day with like World Superbikes in the morning and then BSB season debut with Leon Haslam taking a double at Donington, and then back with touring cars going back and forth pretty much all morning and afternoon. It was fun. I enjoyed it. It was a good time. Let's have a look here. Any advice for writing, says Evan. Ask a good writer. I'm not that good. I'm going to be real with you on that one. Like, there are writers that would piss on me on a regular basis. And honestly, my only regret of the 30 and 30 to a degree was the fact that I had to kind of half-ass a lot of the columns that were in it. But I did enjoy it. But the thing is, the best advice I can give you is just find your voice. Find your voice. Find the character you want to be, and explore how you can best express yourself through the power of words. That's the beauty of words, is that you can tell any story you want to tell. I like to think when I write that people can imagine reading it in my voice, which would be pretty neat. And if you can see my personality come through, and when I write that, I'm doing a decent job. But that's the best advice I can give you. I don't claim to be an amazing writer by any stretch of the imagination. But that's what's helped me over the years, is that just finding your voice and just find the point you want to make more than anything else. What is the point you want to make? Why do you want to make that point? And then just let the words flow. That's the best advice I can give you. Let's have a look in the chat real quick. The Rallycross, yeah, Andy. I know it's going to be on YouTube soon, so I'll get back to you on that one. But yeah. Keep asking about MotoGP in 2017. Yeah, I mean, with MotoGP, it's designed to be close. It's meant to be closer this year. And to be fair, Dorna has actively gone out of its way to make the series more competitive. I almost dropped my helmet there. That's not a good look. From the standardizing electronics to funding more of the satellite teams, funding the bikes so that the teams don't have to worry about surviving. They don't have to worry about costs so much. People underrate this. Dorna gives out a lot of money to these teams, especially in Moto 2 and 3. There's a lot of subsidies that these teams make. And they're doing more now to help the top class out. So the independent teams like Tech 3, like LCR, like Aspar, Avintia, they're all getting more funding now, so they can afford these bikes more easily, so they can run more comfortably and try and spend more money on parts to upgrade and be more competitive. I mean, look at testing last week. The top 18 was covered by 1.2 seconds in Qatar. That's incredible. And the race, we had like 5 or 6 different teams at the front at one point. We had Tech 3 at the front. We had Suzuki with Iannone before he crashed. We had Marquez at the front at one point. We had both Yamahas in there. We had Dovizioso, the workhorse, and on Ducati as well. And Alicia Spargaro finished 6th for Aprilia. So it's already showing signs it could be the most competitive grid we've ever seen. And that's kind of amazing to think, given that the MotoGP grid has gotten better and better the last 4 years now. Like, you go on Dorna's MotoGP channel and you look at the grid rundown videos you get, the field just gets better and better. It's crazy. Like, this year we've lost Eugene Laverty and we still have a really, really good grid. Like Carol Abraham's back, who's a lot better than people give him credit for. Bautista's back. You got Sam Lowe's, Jonas Volga, who are great talents who, they're fast, but they're a bit reckless. So, the grids are getting better and better. So, it's designed that way. It's designed to be better. Mitch Evans for the lols. Fuck Mitch Evans. I can't stand him. Half the girls perv on him on my timeline, and that's like funny enough. But I like that Mitch Evans is like the poster boy for I'm not a pay driver, and yet you're still not actually all that great. Just saying, money's part of the game, Mitch. Sorry. Appreciate you, but F1 isn't ready for drivers like you. Hi, Chaz. Nice to see you, mate. And he's kind of an arrogant douche as well, Joey, to be honest with you. Like when Mitch Evans joined Formula E and said, I'm in a real drivers' championship, it just screams like, well, dude, if you were so great, why didn't you win the GP2 title then? Why was there always 2 or 3 guys better than you? Like, nah, man, Mitch is not that guy. He is not that guy, and I don't think he'll claim to be that guy. Like, if you're like, that's a good point from Zoe. If you're pissing off Scott Dixon, the nicest man in the world, then you might just be a dick, quite frankly. But in any case, yeah, just no. Good for Jaguar getting points, though. I mean, good for them. You know, I like Jaguar, but Mitch Evans is just blech to me. Not a nice guy. Sure, it's great he's not funded, but that's part of the reason why you're not in Formula One. So Sam Bird is great, though. Like, probably the most underappreciated driver in Formula E is Sam Bird. He's great. Very likable. Okay. Shall I give away a T-shirt? I think we should give away a T-shirt. Does that sound good to you guys in the chat? Let's give away a T-shirt. Hang on. Come back with a visual evidence. See, here's the thing. You might not believe this. I have 4 of these sitting in my house with nothing really going on for them right now. So hey, why not give one away to you guys in the Hangout? So let's see. You want to win a shirt? Let's do it. Okay. I'm going to make this a fun question. The best answer, I will give a T-shirt to. I hope you're in either a small, medium, large, or extra large. I've got one of each size here. So the best answer, I will give a T-shirt to. The question is, what is your favorite thing about Motorsport 101? Best answer gets a T-shirt. I will read the chat very closely over the next. So you can see, basically, you got 20 minutes, 5 minutes until before the end of the show, and I will give away a shirt. So, what is your favorite thing about Motorsport 101? The logo. Very nice, Joey. I see what you did there. Very clever. Your beautiful voice. It's a fail. Watching Vettel fans cry. Shooting the shot. That's a good one. So, you know, if you want to ask me some questions as well for the next 20 minutes, go for it. But, what could you say that could make me give you a T-shirt? Right here. It's got your name on it. There's 32 of you in here. Let's see what you got. Dre's adorable giggling every fucking 10 seconds. It's true. Time watching the podcast, I managed to get you to call my fringe awesome. Well, that's fun. That's fun. Fun and informative, and constantly reminds you how much I love Motorsport. That's nice, Akeem. Every meme that comes from these Hangouts. Oh, my God. Oh, dear. I've never done iRacing, Oscar. Not a big fan of it. Josh Bourne has a very nice answer. The fringe is top draw zone. I'm just saying. Like, seriously. We need to hang out at some point. Watch huge rain. Aww. Watching your videos after I stopped you from having that perfect season in IGP. Oh, dear. I do remember that to fail. I was not a fan of that. Robbed. Because he beat me off the line and I couldn't find a way past him. I'm so bitter about that. Besides James Hinchcliffe's podcast. Fuck you, Joey. It's like chatting over. That's really nice. Have you forgiven King for making a reference in a terrible meme last show? I will kill him for that one day, Evan. Trust me. This is a great podcast, Ray. Thanks, Easy. I appreciate that, mate. I'm not just saying this to be a shameless because I want you guys to be creative. You got to earn this. The video about you getting arrested was hilarious. Yeah, you can find that back on my old channel at Harrison 101. You can go back and find that. That's, oh boy, the day I pretty much got arrested, but not really. It was a fun time. The rant of the 2016 Sky Sports F1 coverage. Oh, that was bad. Oh, that was bad. I went off that day. Like, I'd had enough of just constant Hamilton bias, like diminishing Rosberg at every opportunity, Rachel Brooks asking terrible interview questions from their producers and making her look like an idiot when she wasn't really at fault. She gets fed lines from producers. They want a soundbite, and I hated that. You know, it's them saying that Felipe Nasr's name was really Fred. It got on my fucking nerves. That's just so unprofessional from Crofty. And just, yeah. Well, it's the only thing that prevents me from binging every Person 101 video. Yes, I did get arrested. Being introduced to a community of batshit insane people who care about race cars going quickly in circles also gives me enough inspiration to finally watch racing again. Oh dear. The hard-ons you have for Helio and Sainz's hair are the glorious faces. Good answer. That's a good answer. Oh man, your glorious Ferrari rant last year I've listened to like 7 times now. Which one? Josh, there's been multiple ones of these. Yes, completely agree. Completely agree, Zoe. Lee McKenzie is the best. I love that woman. She is amazing. Adore her. Like, the best. Like, pit lane reporter, interviewer, you name it. She's amazing. You don't like the theme song? Like, honestly, I thought the theme song was pretty good on Sky Sports. Even I have to admit, like, Just Drive is a pretty decent song. Like, just saying. You don't sensationalize shit, and I wouldn't have been watched certain sports if it had not been for M101. That's neat, man. The banter stream of X-Man AG. I did a couple of those, didn't I? That reaction to Massa and Perez. Wow. That's a really good one. I remember. Oh, the post-Austria rant. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, that was a bad day. That was a dark day. Like, I was just sitting there going, Ferrari, why do you keep fucking this up, man? But yeah, the reaction to Canada 2014 we did on the live hangout was great. I do remember that. That was a fun time, and it's just completely wrecking each other on the final lap, and Vettel very nearly getting collected. I had a heart attack for that. That was some ridiculous shit. Much heartbroken when she wasn't at the Scotland women's home rugby matches. Oh, sad face. Sad face, Zoe. It's a bummer. Oh, yeah, WrestleMania pre-show on Twitter right now. That's pretty neat. Justin's reaction, that was great too. As a Ricardo fan, I love Canada 2014. I fucking bet you did, mate. The chain cures cancer. Lol. When she asked Bernie to go into his motorhome. There's some good stuff in here. There's some good answers. There's some good answers here. I would also accept favorite M101 moments as an answer as well, if that helps. Thank you for recognizing. The best thing about M101 is it is a brand that doesn't take itself too seriously. That's the most fun thing about this show. Like, Like that's seriously, like that's the most fun thing about it. Like I love the fact that we can be serious, but we often just choose not to be. And I said it before, you guys listen for us, and that's always a magical thing. And you know, we're the brand, and we are what makes it what it is. And you know, we could be corporate and stuffy, but that like I see motorsport as like the most corporate rich white man's world out there. So injecting a bit of black guy charisma in there can't hurt, quite frankly. Because let's be real here, F1 doesn't have that many people of color in it. It just doesn't. And that was a big inspiration for me as well. So any chance I can get to put some diversity in there, you know, that we don't marginalize, we don't really, you know, go by the narratives, we break things down properly, and just the fun we have doing it is just some of the most glorious things. The Shag Marry Kill segment, oh my god. that was oh man, like I still love you, Katie Hargett, honestly. Joe Mack, the Henry Surtees Monaco, that was a great moment for sure. The whole of the draft, good shout, very good shout. I still should have won that damn thing. Just saying. The Snapple partnership. The booty call from hell. Like Akeem, we are going to do a MotoGP one day. Like we are definitely going to do one at some point. It's a matter of getting the three of us together to do it. As well as getting like King and maybe one other guy to make it a 5-person booth, basically. But it is in the works. Trust me. It is definitely something that we're thinking about doing. It's just a matter of getting the people together because Bex is working 2 jobs right now. She's working for West Brom's Foundation, West Brom's Charity Foundation, and she's working in a pub as well. So she's working like 50, 60-hour weeks. So getting her on the show is friggin' hard, but we are trying. Trust me. Popular vote my ass. Just saying. Yeah, and yes, Lazenby is boring. I wholeheartedly agree with you on that. The booty call from hell. Oh my god. I still can't believe I told that story right here, live on this podcast. The people involved probably hate my guts for that now, and I probably shouldn't have done it in hindsight, but yeah, here we are. I did it. Every person has got a story like that, secretly. They just don't want to admit it. Trust me on this. I know folks in race car Twitter that are like that, to a degree. Trust me. Pineapple on pizza. Fuck off, Joey. There you go. You fellas are on timeout. Friggin' pineapple on pizza. The fuck's wrong with you people? And trust me, the interacting thing on the internet is just... oh, man. Like, that's the easy part for me. Oh, dear. Trust me, Rhino. I could barely interact on that whole trip, on that York trip either. It was the most painfully awkward 4 days ever because it was just like one great big university hall segment, and like she was always talking with her mates, and I stuck it like a sore thumb. Trust me, like me hanging around in a uni halls with a bunch of 19-year-olds that all want to go out and get pissed and order Dominoes. Yeah, it's not. Look, it's not as great as it sounds. Trust me. I kind of do at this point, don't I, Zoe? I need to get a Marco Snapple hat, don't I? It just fits with the brand at this point. But, yeah. York is painful. It's okay, Dre. It's painful, but at least it's dirt cheap and the blowjobs ain't bad. Just saying. Just saying. Just saying. Marta Garcia joining the Renault Young Drivers program. I think it's cool. I think it's a good move. I'm not great she is, but I know the woman that runs like the Women in Motorsport campaign for the FIA said like she's like the one. We'll soon wait and see. Dre, shouldn't the dab die? Not as long as Paul Pobka keeps doing it. Jesus, Oscar, that got you back into F1? Really? We sure that's a good idea? Oh dear. Somebody point out to me where this Marco Andretti cap is, and I might just buy one. Me actually buying Marco Andretti merch seems like the most awful thing to do, but sod it. I have to get on brand. I do like my caps, so. But what do you mean, damn it, Dre? Join me in heartbreak. Fan, to be honest with you. Evan. I'm excited for Guardians of the Galaxy 2, though. I'm really looking forward to seeing that, because that film was fun. The first one was fun. Just fun. Spray a Honda cap blue and yellow, save some money. Oh, Josh. The mini helmets I've got? Like I've got, I don't know if I can show this on my camera, but hang on. They're all up there, apart from the Massa one. You got the Schumacher one from the 300th Grand Prix, the 20th anniversary one. I've got a Nico Rosberg, Vettel's Abu Dhabi 2010 helmet, Vettel's 2015 Ferrari helmet, and Lewis Hamilton's 2015 helmet as well. So I've got about 6 or 7 of them at this point. I think Miles, like I'm just not a big film guy, really. Like I don't get hyped over movies. I'm just not really that sort of guy. Just aren't really. Oh yeah, Andretti Paint is 2006, of course, Zoe, of course. I didn't actually make any F1 bets, Oscar, believe it or not. Because I think F1 betting odds are kind of crap across the board, really. Like, it's really good if you're a high roller. Like, 11-8, for example. Like, the odds for Hamilton to win in China next week is 11-8. Like, I think Vettel is now, like, 6-4. Like, him and Vettel are pretty much neck and neck now. For the China win and for the championship. Like Hamilton, I think, is 5-6 to win the title, but I think Sebastian Vettel's now 11-10. So, like, after the Ferrari win, even more people have started throwing money down on Ferrari and on Sebastian Vettel in general. So there's an idea. Your first Indy 500, first Indy race was the 500, Zoe? Oh my god, Jack, that's ridiculous. Favorite MotoGP rider in the 90s, Vortex? Definitely Kenny Roberts Jr. was my first. Shut up, Chaz. I hate you for having a signed version of that helmet. I hate you. I hate you. I hate you so much for that. God damn you. But yeah, 11-8 for Hamilton in China is a very good price. Grand scheme of things, it's pretty good value. Unless you're dead certain Ferrari's going to be quicker, I think China will be more representative of what the F1 season ends up being. So if Hamilton wins in China, start throwing money down on them for the rest of the season. I think 11-8 is something I might put a lot of money on just to see how it goes. I'll wait and see. I do remember that 500, though. So I do remember Hornish Jr. beat him at the line. It was stupidly close. Oh, dear. Sky could claim it to be a German conspiracy between Vettel and China. I saw your tweet, Jake. about pineapple on pizzas. You're not allowed back in for the rest of the stream. Tough shit. The hype train is the top. If Vettel wins in China, start believing. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I don't like Australia is not representative of anything really. Australia's a street circuit. It's not really going to be like a lot of the Tilkodromes you get on the calendar. China will be a better baseline. If Vettel wins in China, start believing. If Hamilton wins, I'm back on the cynical wagon, quite frankly. But I'm just saying, if you've got a decent amount of money, 11 to 8 for Hamilton is a good price. Just saying. How will Bottas do this year? He'll win a few rounds. I think Bottas will win at least 5 races. Because you know what? He was good in Australia. His pace in the second half of the race was excellent. Did what he needed to do. I mean, he gave Hamilton a good run for his money the very first race they were together. If he's going to be on the same sort of level that Nico Rosberg was, then he'll be fine, quite frankly. Well, whether he wins the title, different ball game. But he's a good shout for a podium finish at China. Just saying. There might be some value in that too. Evening, Gabe. I like barbecue sauce on pizza, Andy. God damn you. Ketchup, no. Barbecue sauce is yes. Just saying. Oh, look here. About 7 minutes left, guys. So any last call for questions and shit like that, get it in now. I'll pick a winner right at the end of the show. So yeah, last call for questions and anything of the like. When did they introduce? Would you move Seb up the GOAT list if he does a 5th win with Ferrari? He's probably like, if Vettel wins title number 5 at Ferrari, he's probably in the top 3. He might be above Senna. He probably would be above Senna. Like, I don't think you could argue against him with 5 titles, especially with 2 different major manufacturers. Like, you'd be putting him, like, he'd be very close to Prost on my list at number 3, quite frankly. Like, he's in the conversation already. Like, a 5th title to put him above Prost and with another manufacturer, he's probably 3rd. Probably 3rd. If Hamilton wins number 4, he's going to overtake Vettel, though, for sure. Because the body of work on Hamilton is just better because he came into F1 with better cars. But I completely agree with you, Miles. I think ground effect should be in F1, and like that would be your way of bringing the cars closer together. But the FIA scared of, they're scared of it. Black and Fed asking, will Johnson be back? Honestly, probably not. I'd love Adam back on the show, but he's so focused on other projects and looking for work itself that I don't think he'll actually come back at all now. I really don't. The door's always open for him. There's no beef between me and him at all. He's still a very good friend, and I'd love to have him back on the show regularly, but he's gone down the Armbar Arcade road making videos and doing Classic Race Club, which is nearly done at this point, and a bunch of other stuff. He's blogging now more often. He's looking for a full-time job. Juggling all of that and then juggling this show on top was a big ask. And, I respect his decision. I respect the fact that he, wanted to go out there and make his own way. I think he's too big a free spirit to ever come back. And, again, I said the door's always open, but I doubt it. Hamilton will probably take the pole record this season for sure. Miles, definitely. He'll get it. He's the best qualifier in the field, in the fastest car in the field. Like, I don't think Bottas is there yet, so I think Hamilton will get at least 13 poles this season, and he'll slaughter the record. He'll probably end up retiring with like 80 to 90 in there. Any inspiration for a wannabe sports writer that's horrible at English? Keep working on it. That's like the best advice I can give you is just keep working on it. And just do it. Like, follow your passion. If you want to do it, open a blog. Just talk about it. And, you'll get better with time as time goes on. And I said, just find your voice. Find your voice. Have the confidence to talk about what you want to talk about. And think about what story you want to tell them whenever you write. You do that, you'll be fine. Do it. Like I said, I was a shit English guy in school. Like, my English lit was a C at GCSE. I was shit at English. I was never the kind. I was a maths guy in school. I was never an English guy. So, make it work for you. Have a good one, Gabe. Thanks for watching, mate. Take care of Zero as well. Who do I think will win the IndyCar title? Will Power. I said it on the podcast. I think Will Power will eventually get it together, but Pagano is looking really good. And if Honda are anywhere near the threat we think they are, Scott Dixon was definitely one to keep an eye on for sure, because he's Scott Dixon. Like, but right. I think it's time we pick a winner. And I am going to go. Good chat there, Miles, by the way, about the whole movie blogging. I didn't realize you were a movie blogger, to be honest with you. I think I'm going to give it to Zoe. And I think it's because she's been so, I think, all the guys in the chat, she's been great. I love the history stuff. And I love the idea of a Mario Andretti cap. So, Zoe, shoot me a DM on Twitter. I will send you a shirt. Congratulations. Don't worry, there'll be plenty more chances. I've got 4 of these at home, so there's plenty more coming. So, let it be known. Congratulations, Zoe, if you're listening. A couple more questions, and then I'll wrap this up. Chaz asking, do you think Ricciardo could go to Ferrari at the end of the season? I think his contract runs up. His contract does run out, I think, at the end of the season. And I think it could happen. If Ferrari are not keen on Kimi, then they'll make a move for Ricciardo, because Ricciardo has always wanted to drive for Ferrari. No secret, that's the dream. And they know that Vettel and Ricciardo is a combination that does work. It worked at Red Bull. It was just unlucky that the car was unreliable and shit. So, Vettel and Ricciardo had no dissension between them in their camp at Red Bull. It was just that Ricciardo was better that season. That's all. But, Are you sure about that Zlatan shirt, Miles? Are you sure? Just saying. Just saying. I demand a recount. Next time, you guys. Next time. But oh yes, Aaron, I owe you a shirt as well, because Aaron's a $20 backer. You guys, he's crazy. So Aaron, shoot me a DM on Twitter. I will send your shirt out tomorrow. I forgot to mention that. I've got to send out Tyler's as well, because I know Tyler's a $15 backer. My mind's gone blank on that shit. So I will definitely sort you guys your shirts out tomorrow. Promise. So Aaron, just shoot me a DM to remind me if you want. Let it know. I still think Hamilton and Vettel could get along in the same team. I've not seen any reason why they couldn't coexist. Vettel has never had a teammate problem outside the Multi-21, and that was mostly because team orders are stupid. But I don't see any reason why they couldn't coexist. But, that's how it is, really. Right. I'll answer one more question. Get it in quick. Yes, Oscar, that one earlier, Oscar. Yes, to be fair, absolutely, it's a case of Red Bull. Red Bull invest so much in young. They invest too much in youth. I think. Like, if I think it could work for a Lewis Seb team, but I do think. I do think that it'll be the close quarter stuff, but Vettel and Hamilton haven't really had major teammate dramas as far as I'm aware. A lot of it is just more they want to win, and that's never going to cause a completely perfect scenario. But I don't see any reason why it couldn't work. Best oval, Fontana. I love Fontana, especially in IndyCar. The Fontana 2015 race is absolutely batshit crazy, and I highly recommend you watch it on the IndyCar YouTube channel. Right, that'll just about do it, I think. As I said, Zoe, Aaron, DM me on Twitter at Harrison101HD, and I'll sort your shirts out in the morning. Thanks to everybody that tuned in to watch. I do really appreciate it. You guys are great. I'll be back probably on Saturday night for after Grand National, because I do finish the Grand National at 5. So I'll probably have time on the Saturday night to come in and talk to you guys. So yeah, tentatively I'm going to say Saturday will be our next hangout. We'll probably talk about Chinese Grand Prix qualifying and MotoGP in Argentina, which sounds pretty fun. Rockingham, that's a good shout, actually. But yeah, thank you all very much, you guys, for watching. The fact there's still, 27 of you guys in here at 11 p.m. British time is amazing. So thank you all so much for watching. Much appreciated. And I'll catch you guys on the next Motorsport 101, which will be up probably next Wednesday. Until then, catch you guys next time. Sayonara.